In today's industrial environment, preserving technical knowledge is no longer an option, but a pressing necessity. The experience accumulated by our engineers, managers, and supervisors is an invaluable asset that we must protect and enhance. Artificial intelligence, with its processing and organizational capabilities, is emerging as a powerful tool for this knowledge management. However, the big question that often arises is, where do we start? The magnitude of the task can seem overwhelming, and the risk of an investment with no clear return is discouraging for many. The most effective and pragmatic solution is to launch a pilot project. A pilot is a controlled initiative designed to be measurable and useful from day one. Its main objective is to generate tangible results that convince the team and demonstrate the value of knowledge management. It is the proof of concept that paves the way for larger-scale implementation. A pilot project is not an improvised experiment. It is a controlled and strategic validation. Its purpose is to answer three fundamental questions that will determine the viability and impact of knowledge management in your organization. First, can we capture knowledge effectively and accurately? Second, is it possible to use this knowledge in a practical and accessible way in the plant's daily operations? And third, does this application of knowledge generate real and measurable improvements in time, quality, or cost? The goal is not to deploy a large-scale AI solution immediately. Rather, we seek to demonstrate real and significant impact in a limited, controlled environment. This allows us to learn, adjust, and optimize before further expansion. The conceptual framework guiding this process is viewed as a virtuous triangle: capture, use, impact. Each corner of this triangle is interdependent and essential for success. Capture fuels use, and use generates impact, creating a cycle of continuous improvement. This approach ensures that each step is aligned with the organization's strategic objectives. The success of your pilot project depends largely on choosing the right area or team where it will be implemented. It's not about selecting just any process, but rather identifying the one that offers the best conditions for demonstrating the value of knowledge management. There are four crucial factors to consider for this strategic selection. The first factor is the frequency of intervention. The more frequently knowledge application is required in a team or process, the greater the potential impact of its digitalization. A recurring problem offers more opportunities to test and validate the solution. The second factor is technical complexity or concentration of expertise. It's ideal to choose an area where knowledge is highly concentrated in one or two key individuals. This facilitates initial capture and highlights the vulnerability of relying on undocumented knowledge. The third factor is the level of existing documentation. If the selected equipment or process has little or no formal documentation, this represents an even greater opportunity. Creating a smart knowledge sheet in this scenario will demonstrate immediate and significant added value. Finally, the fourth factor is the impact on operations or production. Consider the consequences if the equipment or process fails. A critical area, where disruptions are highly costly, will maximize the perceived value of the solution. An ideal pilot scenario might be a critical feed pump that fails every 3 months. This pump requires undocumented manual adjustments, and only 2 technicians in the entire plant know how to properly repair it. This example combines high frequency, complexity, lack of documentation, and high operational impact, making it a perfect candidate for a successful pilot. The pilot project implementation is divided into 5 clear and methodical steps, designed to ensure effective knowledge capture, validation, and measurement. Each stage is crucial to building a solid and compelling success story. The first step is to identify key personnel. We will focus on technicians with the most in-depth and practical knowledge of the selected equipment or process. 1 or 2 experts is sufficient to initiate the pilot. It is essential to clearly explain to them the objective of this initiative. It is not about controlling or supervising their work, but rather capturing and preserving their valuable expertise for the benefit of the entire organization. The second step is capturing operational knowledge. This involves recording an actual intervention on the equipment or process. It is recommended to record both video and audio to capture all visual details and verbal explanations. After the intervention, conduct a structured interview with the expert technician. Ask what they did, why they did it that way, what typical mistakes people make, and what additional tips or tricks they can offer. Also, gather any relevant supporting materials, such as schematics, personal notes, diagrams, or photographs, to complement the information. The third step is the creation of the SMART data sheet. With all the information gathered, it is necessary to structure it clearly and completely. This sheet should include essential details such as the specific equipment or process, the exact intervention steps, relevant variables to consider, typical associated failures, and solutions. It is crucial to integrate captured multimedia material, such as videos and photos, for a more visual understanding. Practical recommendations, such as necessary tools or specific spare parts, should also be added. The fourth step is validation with a new or non-expert technician. This is a key moment for testing knowledge transfer. The technician is provided with only the SMART data sheet and asked to perform the task or intervention following its instructions. During this process, it is vital to observe their autonomy, identify any questions they may have, any errors they may make, and areas where the data sheet could be clearer or more comprehensive. This step simulates a real-life knowledge transfer situation and reveals the effectiveness of the data sheet. The fifth and final step is results measurement. This is where the impact of the pilot project is quantified. Metrics such as the total time it took the technician to complete the task, the number of errors made, and the amount of external assistance required are recorded. Feedback is also collected on the ease of learning and their willingness to use the tool in the future. This step is critical because it irrefutably demonstrates that the experience, previously concentrated in the hands of a few, can now be transferred and used by others, validating the value of knowledge management. A pilot project, no matter how well executed, is worthless if it isn't accompanied by clear and quantifiable metrics. Key performance indicators, or KPIs, are essential for demonstrating the real, tangible impact of your knowledge management initiative. This data is the foundation for convincing management and the rest of the team of the need to scale the solution. Among the most recommended indicators for measuring the success of your pilot are the average task execution time. A reduction in this time demonstrates a direct improvement in operational efficiency. Another crucial KPI is the number of errors avoided. By providing clear and precise guidance, errors are minimized, resulting in a significant improvement in operational quality and a reduction in rework or waste. The frequency of consultation of the SMART data sheet is an indicator of its usability and adoption by staff. A high frequency suggests that the tool is valued and actively used. The learning curve for new technicians is a direct metric of the effectiveness of knowledge transfer. If an inexperienced technician can perform a task in significantly less time thanks to the sheet, the value is undeniable. Finally, operator feedback is vital to measuring system acceptance. Their qualitative comments on the usefulness, clarity, and ease of use of the form provide valuable insight. To maximize the impact of this data, it is suggested to present a visual before and after comparison. Show what performance was like without the SMART token versus how it improved with its implementation. For example, compare execution time, number of errors, or learning time. This graphical and numerical representation is extremely powerful for communicating value and justifying future investments. It's important to understand that the SMART data sheet created during the pilot doesn't need to be perfect from the start. In fact, its usefulness lies precisely in its capacity for continuous adaptation and improvement. Perfection is an unattainable goal and often an obstacle to progress. What really matters is that the record is functional and useful. Every time a technician consults the record, every time they use it to perform an intervention, and every time a note or update is added, the record is enriched. This iterative process is fundamental. Information becomes more accurate, more complete, and more relevant with each interaction. This cycle of use and improvement not only perfects the individual record, but also contributes to the organization's overall operational intelligence. It's a living system that learns and evolves with experience. A small pilot project with real, demonstrable results is the most effective way to gain the support and trust of your team and management. Theoretical presentations and abstract promises are rarely as convincing as a tangible success story. This practical approach proves that knowledge capture, which often seems like an impossible task, is entirely achievable. It demonstrates that the experience and expertise of a single person can be transferred and benefit many others, democratizing know-how within the organization. The motivational message is clear. Don't wait until you have everything perfectly ready to begin. Start with what you have, with a specific problem and a team motivated by the process. Let the results speak for themselves. This pragmatic approach not only validates the solution, but also paves the way for broader and more successful implementation across the organization. The next natural step, once the value of the pilot has been demonstrated, will be to scale the solution to the enterprise level, transforming knowledge management into a strategic pillar of its operations.